as I've said before, I tend to make, well, I don't, for whatever reason, I don't make videos when I'm, like this, which is a fair amount of the time. There's no particular reason that I can think of that I don't. I just, it just seems, I suppose, I imagine that I'm just sort of a bit distracted, being completely desperate. And I just, yeah, I'm like this a lot, and it's hard to stay happy, and I feel like I'm probably not on enough medication now. The distress I'm experiencing is intensifying, and anyway, I've just been, because of the fucking Ministry of Justice, and I know I seem very cavalier, even callow, when I disparage the justice system and the other people who are victimising me. That's not what I'm like a lot of the time. And I just got really upset today because I've just been trying to fucking find some fucking help, like just help from the fucking courts telling me what the fuck is going on. And I've been looking at some legislation and sort of things like articles. I'm just googling, like trying to find out like what is a case review hearing, and I am struggling a little bit with the legislation because I haven't, there are loads of definitions and interpretation sections that I'm not they're not very helpful definitions, or they're not defined at all. But from the community law handbook, which I believe is fairly reliable, from what I understand with case review hearings, and I still don't really understand what they are. I understand a bit, but it just sort of branched off into a whole lot of other stuff that I had no fucking idea about. And supposedly defence and prosecution are supposed to file a memorandum about the cases, or the case, I suppose, each one is different, at least 5 days or something before the fucking case review hearing. And it's like, well, first I fucking heard of that, and no one's helped me explain that, and I'm in touch with police through what I can only assume is a reasonably direct a reasonably direct link to the prosecution team. No one has fucking approached me to collaborate on a memorandum. None of the lawyers that I've had, well, I shouldn't really include April Calland, because she was assigned to me, but she was never my lawyer, and it's not her fault, like when I managed to get in touch with her finally, she had no idea she was assigned to me, and she said, she was very lovely, but she just said, there's been a mistake, there's no way, I'm completely unable to take on anything else, I'm already overloaded, which is true of a lot of legal aid lawyers, and that's the trouble, is that they happened with Chris as well, and then Chris fucking ditched me 5 weeks in. It's like, geez, I'm really sorry, legal aid lawyers, that I've been victimised so much. So I've got a lot of evidence of the victimisation, because I've been victimised so often that's more complicated than maybe you expected. And the victimisation has, moved heavily into the legal abuse, which is what's happening now. Um, uh, Aside from threatening, I think I threatened quite a lot of people. I was very drunk when I did it, and I haven't really looked at what I sent. I just remember writing to Chris afterwards. I mean, I don't, I'm not trying to claim that I was too impaired to know what I was doing, because it was something that I definitely intend to, because police, and I'm pretty sure I know why, because police won't take any complaints against them. It's like, well, I just have to drag them into that's how I'm going to drag them into the criminal sphere, by baiting police into arresting me and charging me, right? And I know for a fact, probabilistically, like I know scientifically, that there is no way in hell that police prosecution are, I know that there are no investigations underway. They know that I'm the victim, and they are just taking down their target. There's no sincere effort on the part of the police to serve the public, to protect these poor, vulnerable, gigantic, psychopathic corporations from very badly impaired, isolated, supported living payment beneficiaries. It's just, on no level does that make any sense. And police have done absolutely nothing to find out from me what happened. They have decided that they've decided on the story that they're going to tell to get rid of me for Homewood, and that's what they're doing. So it's no surprise at all that they haven't made any efforts to follow the law here. I don't know for sure what community law's interpretation is. I once saw an advertisement for people to write for the community law handbook, and they did not need to be legally trained, they just had to be good writers. And, as a technical writer, you don't need to be a subject matter expert yourself, you just need to know how to, interpret the subject matter, usually often by interviewing subject matter experts, or, poring over the subject matter itself, and I feel that it's probably quite reliable, but supposedly, yeah, there's supposed to be like a memorandum filed, and no one's fucking talked to me. Like, police will not reply to me. They will not, like, no one will reply to me, and they're not backing down either. It's exactly like Homewood all over again, and I just know what's going on. And what really set me off being really upset is reading that, well, I knew from a while ago, looking for some help with the Tenancy Tribunal, not with Homewood at that stage, but with the fucking Tenancy Tribunal, who are also complicit. And for naysayers, it's like, well, you explain why there are particular sections of the the Crimes Act that are devoted to corruption of judicial and judicial staff and police and all that stuff. You tell me why there's that in the Crimes Act. Do you know why? Because it happens, and people are prosecuted for it. It's easier to prosecute police for it. It's unfortunate that judges have so much immunity. The Tenancy Tribunal adjudicators do have immunity, but not for mistakes, which is really shit, because it doesn't give them a lot of motivation to not make mistakes, and it just means that they don't have to be very careful, and they don't really have to care, which is awful. But I don't believe that all the legal torture that I've been put through for 9 months, 10, 12, whatever months it is, I don't believe anymore that it's mistakes or incompetence. I know that it's deliberate, and so they don't have adjudicators have no immunity for deliberate deliberate legal errors, but of course, you know, proving intent or getting someone more powerful to actually admit that there is intent there is a different matter. And I've got no idea about actual judges. I don't know. I don't know how much the back scratching goes on. I don't know. But there are some things that people just can't fucking wriggle out of in actual court. And I think police are going to find themselves in a bit of hot water here because so I do remember back when I was trying to find some help for the Tenancy Tribunal and nutting it out with one of my MAPS advocate, who just didn't have the resources to stick with me, unfortunately, and also just wasn't quite the right person to support me through that legal stuff. Now, there was a Tenancy Tribunal. Now, the Tenancy Tribunal completely ignored my mental disabilities, which aren't intellectual, but they're psychological, and many of the injuries like the PTSD. But the police know, and they certainly fucking know, and they can't pretend they don't know because they have dispatched, as I say, probably at least a dozen units to me to do a welfare check, which is probably malicious on the police part. I think it's probably malicious. I no longer think that it's necessarily the unpleasant people in my life. I mean, it probably is a mixture of both, but I believe that it's malice on police part because it's funny, like, I literally got a police welfare check the day after I got falsely arrested and beaten up by a cop and then charged with resisting arrest. You know, I literally got a welfare check after that. You can tell how well that went. You can tell, and I got that on record actually. I'm just basically, what the fuck? Like, police are just fucking with me, and that's why I trespassed them. And now I realise that they've known all along, or at least, well, they've known all along, and because they are part of it, and they're doing it on purpose. And the other part of it is that even if they had any credible, plausible deniability, which I don't think so, because I think it's on record plenty that about my neuropsychiatric, etc. disabilities. The fact that they're constantly deploying welfare checks on me to get my mental health checked and that kind of thing is just going to make it fucking impossible for police prosecution to deny knowing that I'm not coping. And I've been looking at the application form that people with disabilities that encompass mine as well as more obvious ones such as blindness or mobility problems or intellectual disability or whatever, that I am entitled to assistance for communication assistance. And it's not that I need an interpreter, because it also can be if you speak a language other than English, because obviously courts usually run in English. But yeah, I do need help understanding what's going on. I do need communication help. What I need definitely falls under that. And unfortunately, it wasn't available to me as a respondent in the Tenancy Tribunal, but it is available to me as a defendant in the criminal proceedings. So police are fucking up all over the show, and it just remains to be seen if the judge is going to support their fuck-ups, or if the judge is going to go, what in fuck are you fuckers doing? Because that does happen sometimes, quite often actually, I think, with police trying it on. And so I have absolute fucking proof all over the fucking show, in every which way, that I am impaired in one of the relevant ways. That includes mental distress. It includes autism. It includes all fucking things that, I mean, PTSD is a disability as well. It's a mental injury. and I don't know what's going on, and no one's explaining to me. And the thing is that I don't have any intellectual impairment. My intellect's fine, but as I've described a million times, the stress just makes everything seem like it's here, and I can't prioritize, and I can't calm my mind down like I'm really, really fucking disabled. And it appears, as from what I can tell from the form that you can apply 5 days in advance of court, an attendance or a hearing or fucking whatever it is, that for help, for the person, the impaired person, to, help understand, a very broad, applications of the whole process. And it's the responsibility, well, I don't know if it's a legally binding responsibility, but if the judge is any good, the judge is going to probably question why neither of the two parties who can apply for this assistance for the disabled person has done it. And I told, as I say, I'm excluding April because it wasn't her problem, but the duty lawyer that I saw who made the recommendations did ask me if there was a mental health element, and I said, yeah, there was, and he knew what that was, so that would be on the record. Now, the people in legal aid, I keep forgetting what they're called, I can't remember what they're called, but they choose the lawyers. They've been completely fucking ignoring I repeatedly post the letters from my psychiatrist and my GP saying about my mental disabilities. They repeatedly ignore them. I've explained to my lawyers why I'm, what and why, and neither of them have even acknowledged it. They haven't even acknowledged it, except for fuckface EA, who said I need to call fucking suicide line, talk to my GP as if I haven't. It's like, the incompetence is just off the fucking chart, and it looks like I can't fill out an application form myself. These people had a fucking obligation to do this for me, and that's not as just someone who's defending themselves, that's also as someone who has a fucking lawyer. And Michael said to me, and I think I have this on record, I'm not holding your hand through this, I'm your lawyer, and I'm not here to deal with your mental health. And it's like, you fucking incompetent snake. Do you know what you should have done? You should have put in the application form to get someone to fucking help me cope with you, because then maybe we could have worked together, rather than me having to, struggle out of legal aid altogether and like go into this fucking hinterland by myself, not knowing what a fucking case review hearing is. I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but it really fucking isn't. As far as I can tell, the police prosecution and I should have collaborated on a fucking memo. And it certainly wasn't something that my lawyers had been doing. I just don't even fucking know what's going on. And it turns out that a case review hearing can't be done until a plea entry's been, until 45 days after a plea entry. And it might have been 45 days, but I don't know. Maybe it's a different category of crime. I don't know. But basically, I'm not fucking busting my ass to prepare for this thing, because I don't know what it is, and Ministry of Justice will not give you correct information when you ring up the call centre. None of them will give you, well, you might get correct information, but God knows if it's correct or not, because none of the others, like, they'll refuse other places and they won't respond. They just won't fucking respond, and some of them are extremely rude. Q is one of them, extremely rude and extremely incorrect, and it's just a fucking nightmare. And I just started crying because, I don't have time to feel, I don't have time to collapse, and I don't have time to feel sorry for myself, and I've given up trying to find help from anyone, and I'm just having to plough on ahead, and everybody knows that I'm intending to kill myself because there's no fucking help available, and I can't live like this, and it's not a mental health problem, it's a fucking persecution problem. And I can't fucking believe police prosecution going to this extent, ignoring my totally qualifying disabilities, and they're going in for the fucking kill. And I am going to have to tell the judge, if I get an opportunity to, that I need a needs assessment, and that I've already got letters from qualifying health professionals from, like quite a long time ago, and the bullying just kept going. Like, Caroline is not the victim. She was bullying me while I was in the fucking Helmwarton Hospital under the Mental Health Act for trying to kill myself. And her psychopath, dumb shit, fuck cunt, Dominic Clapham, was telling the Tenancy Tribunal that, all these re-hearings are being done for me. And it's like, the adjournments have been done for me. And it's like, I was in the fucking loony bin, mate. And I was in the loony bin because I tried to kill myself because of your fucking handler bullying me to what I felt had to be my death. And I just don't know. Like, I seriously just don't. I really don't think I want to live in this world. I really don't. And if I'm going to tune up to this case review hearing, and I'm going to say to the judge, or it might be the registrar, I don't know what's going on, and it's not my fault. It's your fault, not the registrar. But I'm going to say it's Ministry of Justice's fault. It's not my fault that I'm given incompetent lawyers, and I'm talking to incompetent staff. And the thing is that I don't care to keep struggling in this system. If our justice system is going to continue to criminally abuse me, I am going to die. Like, I'm not. There's nothing to live for. There's nothing to live for. There really fucking isn't. Nobody does what they're supposed to do in this country. Criminals run this fucking country. Criminals run this country. It's just incredible. And, like, I'm suffering beyond what I believe 90% of people could tolerate suffering. And it wasn't even, I was even managing to be extremely cheerful for a lot of it, but at this stage it's just like, what people don't, like, I'm just in this almost surreal insanity where I'm in emergency health accommodation, but I have a duty to look for a fucking home through all of this, and it's like, for fuck's sake, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can't look for a home. Like, I understand emergency accommodation is for an emergency, but it's like, where do people like me go? And that's what the receptionist at ED said after Lauren locked me out, and that's family violence, and I'm gonna fucking do her for that. And it's another reason I was really upset today, because everybody who's supposed to be dealing with victims of family violence say, I don't know anything about it, go to someone else. And that's what happened. Like, I rang the hospital social work, and they just keep referring me to, like, social workers are one of the people who are tasked to manage it, like, and this guy, the social work receptionist, he just kept saying, oh no, we only deal with the aftermath in ED. And it's like, you don't even know what fucking family violence is, and that's a fucking retarded way of dealing with it. Like, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for ED. I'm asking for social work. He did not understand what I kept saying. I'm looking for a social worker who is tasked under the fucking Family Violence Act to help a victim, like, enter the court process. And that's been Mitchell and Lauren in a row, and it's my mother, and it's a number of other family members. And the fact that police keep arresting me and ignoring me and ghosting me just means they're aiding and abetting family violence. They're not the agency they are the agency tasked, they're another agency tasked with it, and they won't do it. They just leap on and they just help attack the victim. So yeah, I'm really upset, and the thing is that my brain doesn't work very well a lot of the time, and I'm really struggling at the moment because I'm moving into a different storage unit, one that I can, access myself, and I need to put all the stuff, that's not it's not all as much as it looks. I got a lot of extra boxes because I wasn't sure how much I'd need, so a lot of those empty boxes, but it all represents more stuff that I've got to do, like stuff that I'm sorting out because I can't pay to store everything that I own. And Lauren and Mitchell both fucked up the fucking progress that I was making sorting out my stuff. Like, just evil, like evil, pure evil people. And the thing is that when Mitchell backed me up, and I've got those evidence of the photos, and then I've got the statutory declaration, and the doctor records and all that kind of stuff, and so my ACC claim made by my medical centre was accepted, and I can get trauma counselling, because you can't get trauma counselling for psychological harm, which is retarded, but you can from the trauma from a qualifying injury, which assault is. But I'm too traumatised to even know how to access that help, And I can get help at home. I can get I can get taxis paid to pick up my groceries. I can get all sorts of things, but I'm too traumatised to even access the fucking ACC help. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is this fucking evil country? And I don't want to lose me, but my life is just beset by every fucking man and his dog, And, I don't think anyone cares. Like, people don't care about other people, and I don't want to die in this motel room because the manager's really nice person. But I'm happy to die in court or outside the police station, or I would like to die comfortably, but I'm going to balance some priorities there. The best thing, as I've said to police, is the best thing for me is if I die in custody, because I really want you guys to fucking, I want you guys to answer to what you're fucking doing to me.